Okay, what we have here on the bench today is a Breting 14 communications receiver. This was probably fairly typical of late 1930s, mid to late 30s communications radio technology. I picked this up at a flea market. What you see here is pretty much all I have. I do not have the cabinet for this. When I got it, it looked like pretty much like a parts radio. I didn't think that there was, everything needed to make the radio play was there, but it was basically a basket case. There was so many problems with it. I only paid $10 for it, so kind of reflective of the nature of the beast. Anyway, I did quite a bit of work on this. It's sort of a rainy weekend, so I had a pretty good opportunity to work on this full time over the weekend. And I managed to get things going again. There was quite a bit of rather interesting surgery done on this radio by a previous owner, and apparently it was repaired and died quite a long time ago. First and foremost I had to do was replace the power transformer. I've got the old one here. You can see kind of that burnt look to it, and I'll show you the other side. I mean, this thing is toasted. It's completely fried. The receiver had some sort of catastrophic failure which just burned up the transformer badly. And it's completely fried. So I managed to find a transformer that had it was pretty much a drop-in replacement for the old one, and out of another set that was even more derelict than this one. Some of the other things I did, pretty much rebuilt the whole power supply. There were 3 chassis mounted caps on this radio that were basically hopeless. They had rubber coated wiring going to them and everything. It was just crumbling away. That may have been what took out the power transformer in the first place. So what I did, rather than trying to find the screw-on type chassis mount caps, what I wound up doing was simply replacing them with much smaller but the same value replacements. These are actually better, much better than the originals. The originals I think were like 450 volts. These are like 800 volts total, and that seems to work pretty well. I also had to do a complete changing out of all the paper caps in this radio. I've thrown all the paper caps away, so I can't show you those, but there were a whole bunch of them. Every yellow cap that you see here throughout the radio, they all were paper caps at one time that I changed. So all of those yellow ones are ones that I changed. And that's necessary because you have a phenomenon where the old style paper caps, they leak a lot of DC when they're not supposed to. I also, a lot of the controls were seized on the front panel here. They turn freely now. I had to apply a bit of liquid wrench to them and let it set for a while, and then and maybe turned them a little bit with a pair of pliers to just kind of work in the lubrication. And now all the controls turn freely. I also had to clean the controls with deoxit to get some of the scratchiness and erratic behavior out of them. This thing here, this is the crystal, part of the crystal filter assembly. And what I discovered is that if this little shaft was disconnected, and I didn't realize the implications of it at the time, what I discovered is that if that shaft is disconnected and the capacitor that you see here, now let me do this, capacitor you see right there, if that is not able to turn to the most extreme position to take it out of the circuit, what you'll get is the crystal kicked in, which is a very, very selective narrow band crystal, and it causes quite a drop in reception, so it makes you think that there's a problem with the RF gain in the receiver when there really isn't. And I discovered that once I hooked all this linkage back up here so that it could go to the most extreme position and cut that capacitor out of the circuit and the crystal out of the circuit, the radio actually performed much better, much more like you would expect. And that's the normal position that you would put it in anyway to do regular reception. Okay, so I've already spot aligned the AM band on this. I haven't touched any of the shortwave band trimmers yet. There was one trimmer here that was broken completely off, so what I had to do is I had to put in a modern replacement right here, and it's kind of offset, but that's okay. I can still align it, and that works very well. It seems to be about the same value as the original, so that works very well. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to gently put this chassis on its regular position, and apply power to it so we can see how well it works. Okay, I'll turn it on my bench supply here. And I've temporarily got a 12 volt bulb in here. It should have 6 volts. It's a little dim, but it has okay. But this set has some fairly strange Edison-based bulbs in them. Normally, these types of radios, they usually have number 47 type pilot lights in them, but these are, I think, they say number 46 on them, which I've never seen before. But maybe that's a late 30s kind of thing. But they're Edison-based screw-on bulbs instead of bayonet bulbs. Anyway, I've got it powered up. Turn it on. It's on the AM broadcast band right now, so let's see how well it plays.
The members and was given a different
I don't have any dial here, no dial cord, so I can tune it, but I can't see what I'm tuned to.
You guys would stress too to go and seek out cancer cells that are circulating the body. 3, both teams not shooting very well. The Knicks at 44%, the Lakers at 32%. This is Hyundai at the Half, brought to you by Hyundai. Great deals on me. Here from Kelly Blue Book. I met my love.
And then some reports that maybe one car actually...
All right, Al Bazan says it might cost you $15, but right, there or Levi's Stadium. Right.
As you can tell, it sounds pretty good. It's pretty hot on the AM band. Here's the power transformer that I replaced.
Al, who are you talking about?
It came out of an old Holocrafters S27 that somebody had just gutted, but they left the power transformer and a bunch of other stuff behind, so I was able to take it out and use it in this, and it works fine. Barely gets warm, really.
I'll be here for that.
I left the can caps in place. They look kind of shaggy, but I left them in place, at least for now. Chassis is still filthy. I haven't cleaned it up yet. I just got the radio working today. I aligned the IFs and the trimmers below that I was just showing you. In case anybody ever wants to know the orientation of that crystal, is the pins line up with the two little nuts here. So if you ever wonder, there's like 5 or 6 pins that you can possibly plug this into, but this is the way it goes in order for it to work properly. Okay, let's see how it does on shortwave.
It was incredible, and Mochi thought he just lost his balance, so he was trying.
Okay, let's try this next band up. Yeah, I gotta clean this.
Grabó decenas de álbumes. En su trayectoria. Thank you so much, Anil bhai, for joining us, and we are looking forward to have you.
What a time of year. And a team like Virginia, who I do see them being to Texas 2 weeks ago, and Monte Ellis had 10 and
up a garbage because my father is a retired New York City sanitation worker, and the premise of it is you work hard, get educated, and life will reward you. Yes? No, it's rewarding the Kardashians. That's who gets rewarded. And I'll take you a little bit of journey about who Huey Langan was and the lessons I was taught.
in the world.
Come here, guys. The only thing you can see is all the battles you lost, all the compromises that had to be made for...
Opening a window isn't enough. These deadly fumes can linger in the room for hours after odors have dissipated.
Daddy, you promised you'd smoke outside.
Access gas.org.
Park Place Bar and Grill, Old Town Scottsdale's hidden gem, offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Located a block from the stadium, right across from the Center for Performing Arts, Park Place is the perfect spot to enjoy breakfast before you head out to the game. Not ready for a cocktail? They offer an array of coffee drinks as well.
Okay, as you can see, it's pretty good for a first attempt. It's not perfect. I've got to align I got to clean up the chassis. It's really dirty. Got to align the shortwave bands. Got to figure out why the BFO is not working. And I've somehow got to find a meter. There's a meter connection here. There's no meter that came with it, but there's an S meter that normally fits on there. Got to find one of those. And I got to figure out what to do about the fact that there is no cabinet for it. The cabinet's probably not obtainable unless I get very, very lucky, because there weren't that many of these things made. What I'm probably going to do is fabricate some kind of a front panel to put on it, so at least it looks somewhat presentable, and it'll be looks like it'll be a pretty good player when it's completely done.